What a first 3 days this journey has been. I am JJ. Welcome to my video, Cancer Week 2. But before I get started, I want to let you all know I didn't lose my hair in 3 days. I've been shaving for the last 15 years. So just want to make sure y'all know that. I guess that's the one benefit I have is I've been shaving all along. But I am trying to keep control of this if I can. I don't know whether I'll keep it or lose it or how that's going to work out. If you missed last week, the link to last week will be provided below so you can catch up with us if you like to. Week 2 started with a speech and swallow therapist. I don't know whether you've ever had that experience. For me, it was not good at all. They actually run a camera down your nostril or your mouth, but in my case, they went down my nostril and they went all the way to the back of my tongue in my throat because I wanted to look at the vocal cords and how they were functioning as a baseline for going forward in case there were any issues that developed. The radiation is going to have an impact on my throat and my tongue and swallowing, the whole 9 yards. Having said that, on Monday last week, I had my feeding tube surgery. Not comfortable, not a good thing. We prayed about it and researched about it before we ever made the decision to go with a feeding tube. But my oncology team was very matter of fact that with my particular situation with the tongue cancer and the cancer in the lymph node on the left side of my neck, that by probably week 2 or 3, I'd find it very, very difficult to swallow and eat. So the feeding tube surgery was done Monday, and at the recommendation of my surgeon, my chemo port was done on Tuesday. The chemo port surgery was uncomfortable. It's almost bearable now. However, the feeding tube they cut through my ab of steel. My ab of steel. I used to have abs, but that is a little storage pocket that my sweet wife found on Amazon. We can link that below if you have a need for that. And it's real convenient because it helps me sleep at night without me fighting it or catching on my t-shirt or in the bed or whatever. Sleeping was a real difficult thing the first few days for sure. I had already developed a lot of mucus buildup, and it was just difficult. Now, my speech therapist informed me they did not want me to spit that mucus out. They wanted me to continue to I know this is disgusting and I'm sorry. They wanted me to continue to swallow that so I could continue to work my swallow muscular issues in the event that things started going south. I would hopefully have a less difficult time. So that's really not fun, trying to swallow that stuff. The surgery for the port, I understand, went well. So I did stay in the hospital overnight, Monday night, with a feeding tube, and then Tuesday, they finally did the port surgery. Hospitals are a very, very busy place. They were not on target for my surgery times. That was very frustrating because I hadn't eaten. You can't eat. Prior to surgery, they want you to fast. And I want to say it was probably a total of 36 hours that I had no food. They did serve me some Jell-O the night before my surgery for my port. And at 10 o'clock at night, because you can't have anything after midnight, my nurse who was caring for me that night snuck in some chocolate ice cream, which I was very grateful for. That helped me get through the long day, no doubt, on Tuesday before they got to the port Tuesday afternoon. Pain medication for the feeding tube. I was given pain medication. I quit taking the pain meds at 8 o'clock on Monday evening, the day of surgery, and went to Tylenol, full strength Tylenol, no codeine, just straight Tylenol. But it was very, very painful. I'm not a pain med guy because of the risks associated with some pain meds, which I've experienced in the past with a different surgery. So I try to come off of those as fast as I can. The Tylenol got me through. On Tuesday, I think I had 2 doses of Tylenol, and I haven't had any since. I'm just trying to power through the situation. The abs are still very sore. Here we are, several days later, very sore. And of course, there's 2 puncture wounds when they do that. And I noticed the incision on the side of the feeding tube is all black and blue. So I'm sure they beat me up pretty good there trying to get that squared away. My pain level after surgery was probably about an 8 and gradually made its way down to about a 5 and a 4, and that's when I jumped over to the Tylenol. Wednesday last week was my first day of radiation followed by chemo. I reported at 8:30 in the morning for radiation, and it was followed immediately by chemotherapy. The staff there at the Center for Cancer and Blood Disorders was amazing. When I got there initially, they had to plug into my port. And that was an interesting experience because they have a phlebotomist that does that. The oncology techs don't do that. And she actually froze the surface of my skin over the port, put a cloth down first and then froze that area, and then put the needle in to the port. There's a specific kind of needle, and I can't remember what it's called. There's a specific kind of needle that they use in a port. But she was very, very good. And the insertion didn't hurt. It's one push on the port and she's in, and then everything runs through that port. She did that, and then she got me into the infusion room where I was assigned a lounge chair, which was very nice, and all kinds of snacks. Your oncology nurse comes out and explains everything that's going to occur that day and goes over all the meds that they are going to give me preemptively to help alleviate any potential side effects of the chemo after the fact. There were a total of 6 bottles of IV on the hanger. Actually, there were bags, 6 bags, and all the 6 of those were preemptive, is my understanding. And that took about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, somewhere in there. And then after all of that's done, of course, they're constantly monitoring the patient because of the medication they're giving you. And after all that's over, then they let you know that they're hooking you up to your chemotherapy bag. And that in itself took an hour. So I started at 8:30 on Tuesday morning with radiation. And when I finished my chemotherapy, it was 3:30 in the afternoon. This coming week, we may plan on packing me a little bit of real food instead of granola bars and other snacks to help get me through that process. Maybe some fruit. It's a long day and you need to have something with you to eat in case it's not provided. Thursday was a day of radiation at 11:30 in the morning. I met with a nutritionist concerning my feeding tube and nutrition going forward through this process. She again reiterated that the feeding tube was preemptive in the likely event that I won't be able to swallow or eat. I also visited with the oncologist for the chemotherapy, just to, I guess, go over how I was feeling. I forgot to mention in the visit with the nutritionist, she also ordered for me some protein drinks that are 500 calories per drink. She also recommended that I start drinking those orally in week 2 so that my body will adjust to that particular protein drink so that in the event that I can't eat or swallow, it's not a shock to my system to use the feeding tube going forward with protein drinks. I thought that was a very good idea and a good recommendation. The protein drink flavors come in chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. However, I have to assume that chocolate's the most favorite, or is the favorite, because they didn't have any. So they've ordered me strawberry. We'll see how that goes. Friday, what a day. My radiation appointment was at 6 a.m. The con is that drug me out of bed at 5 a.m. And it drug my wife out of bed at 5 a.m. The good news is I was the first patient of the day, and I arrived right on time at 6 a.m. to the center. I was in my truck leaving at 6:17, 17 minutes flat. So it takes more time actually to get you on the table and get the preparation and get the masks secured so you can't move than it does to do the radiation. So I thought that was pretty good. 17 minutes, I can deal with that. Tomorrow I have to be there at 9:30, so I anticipate it's not going to be a 17-minute adventure there. As it stands right now, every other appointment over the next 6 weeks will start at 9:30. We'll see what happens. Wednesdays, I have the chemotherapy, I have the radiation first and then the chemotherapy. So that's going to be a really, really long day. I can tell you that some of the things that I experienced the first 3 days were the buildup of mucus, and dry mouth was really bad. Sleeping was, I just can't explain how bad. It's cotton mouth. I was constantly getting up and trying to rinse and drink, and didn't sleep very well at all the first 3 days. The biggest problems that occurred for me were the pain from the feeding tube, the dry mouth, the mucus, dehydration was an issue. Fatigue, was an issue. I tried to force myself to consume calories and eat. Nothing tasted good or sounded good. It's frustrating because I'm one of these people who likes food and I enjoy eating. It's really frustrating for me, especially in light of the fact the last 20 years I've programmed myself to eat until I'm full and then stop eating. Well, now I've gotten in a situation where I need to eat constantly to keep from losing weight, and things don't sound good or taste good, and the nausea factor is not very nice. My oncology team did prescribe pills for nausea. However, I have not ventured down that road yet and hope and pray that I don't need to. Additionally, another thing that I've learned over the last 3 days relative to eating, I've learned to eat smaller meals, if you will, or eat less multiple times a day. And I also was referred to a YouTube channel by Dr. William Lee, from a former pastor of mine who has been through the journey, referred me to him. Dr. Lee was incredible, and we'll link him below in case you want to review some of his information. He's also published. He has books out that you can buy. But he gave me some tips and tricks on what to eat, the type of things to eat. So I encourage you to go to the video and listen to that. He is not anti-cancer treatment. He is pro-cancer treatment. However, his specialty in medicine is substituting natural foods to help carry us through the journey of the difficulties created by radiation and chemotherapy. Well, the tips that he gave me, I implemented, and it really seemed to help because I had a great day yesterday, which was Saturday. So I'm going to continue down that path, and I realize it's 3 days out after chemo, and maybe it's all but flushed through my system, and this helped along the way. So I'll continue his eating practices or recommendations and see how that works out, and we'll let you know next week about that journey. Green tea is one thing he recommended, so I'm drinking green tea. We have found some products that have helped me along the way at the beginning of this journey, and the one that was really interesting, these will all be linked below, by the way, is a shirt for chemotherapy. It has a zipper on both shoulders, so you can zip the t-shirt down so you can easily access the port. It just makes it very simple. And I got 2 of those. Since I have chemo once a week, it just made it very easy for me and my nurse oncologist. This one I couldn't help. My queen bought this for me. And I had a dear friend of mine who is a mayor locally. I shared that with him. He told me, your wife is the only person that could buy that for you. I said, you are absolutely right. This is a neat product. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm going to try it. It's Helios. It's a mouthwash, a rinse, and a drink at the same time. You rinse and you can actually drink it. This product was created by an oncologist. We found this on Amazon. We purchased this preemptively because as the radiation continues over the next 6 weeks, evidence is that you're going to slough off material and cells inside your throat, and this helps repair, not really repair, but helps you endure that process. It's a rinse and a drink. So we're going to check this out. We'll link that below. A pill crusher in the event that I can't swallow. It's really easy, simple. You just unscrew it, put the pill inside, you screw it back together, crush it, and you mix it. You mix it with a liquid, and then I'll put it in a syringe and put it in my feeding tube. I have peripheral neuropathy as well. And chemotherapy in many people causes neuropathy in your fingers and your toes. So my sweet wife found cold socks and cold mittens that I can carry with me to my therapy in the event I start having issues. I can put those on and endure the remainder of the treatment for that day. This little dude right here helped me with my iPad because it acts as a holder, okay, where I can sit and watch the iPad during that 3.5 hour period of time. If you have an iPad or a large phone or something, this works. We take it on trips as well on the airplane. This dude right here is my chemo go bag. It's got multiple pockets and areas that I can put stuff in, including the cold mittens and the cold socks, my iPad, everything that I want to carry with me, wallet, keys, food as well if you need to. I got to tell you, you know what this is, right? That's a lollipop. Everybody remembers lollipop, right? My first day, a gentleman came through the hospital. He had a boot on his right leg from surgery. Have no idea who he is. Never met him before. But he, I learned, comes to the hospital every day to minister to people in the name of Jesus. And everybody that accepts one accepts the gift of the lollipop, gets to pick their flavor. He goes to Sam's Club every week and buys a box of 100, and he gets rid of all 100 in a week. That to me was a blessing on day one because I had 8:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. So I was glad that he was there for me. A couple more products that we have used and have been very, very helpful is a shower belt for my feeding tube. It's elastic, Velcro on the back, and it's got several little slots, elastic slots, depending on where you want to put your feeding tube port. Not sure even what they call them. It's got three different ports that you can plug into depending on what kind of syringe you've got. But that secures to your waist while you're in the shower, so your feeding port doesn't dangle all over the place and cause you a little discomfort there at the incision point. And the other good thing is you don't have to use tape every time to shower and peel it off your belly, which for me is a good thing. This was a really, really good recommendation from my nurse oncologist. Hope you can see that. It's called Liquid IV, and it helps recover from the effects of chemo and replenishes all the essential nutrients that your body is going to need in order to recover from the chemotherapy. It specifically targets hydration issues. So when I get to the point now that I've got this, that I feel cotton-mouthed, what I'll do is I'll make one bottle. I'll take a 16-ounce bottle of Ozarka water, put 1 scoop in the water, shake it up, and I will sip that until it's gone. And that seems to give me some relief as well. This shirt right here was given to me by my former pastor, who referred me to Dr. William Lee, and it'll be linked below as well. It is God's battle, not ours. Hope you found it helpful, and we'll have all these items linked below, as well as a link to the first video. God bless you. Peace.